Have you ever tried to remember an English word and then forgotten it the very next day? You wrote it down. You repeated it. You even used it once. But when the time came to speak, your mind went completely blank. It's frustrating, isn't it? You wonder, why can't I remember? Am I just bad at English? No, you are not bad at English. You are simply using the wrong method. Because remembering vocabulary is not about memorizing words. It's about building a relationship with them. It's about making words part of your story, your feelings, your dreams. And today I will show you 5 powerful tricks that will help you remember vocabulary not for a day, not for a week, but for life. So stay with me till the end, because by the time you finish this video, you will never look at English words the same way again. Trick 1. Connect words with emotion. Feel. Don't just memorize. Let's begin with something most learners completely ignore: emotion. Your brain is not a computer that stores data. It's a living storyteller. It doesn't remember everything you see or hear. It remembers the things that make you feel something. The truth is, emotion is the secret ingredient that turns simple information into unforgettable memory. Think about it. Do you remember the date of every math formula you studied last year? Probably not. But you definitely remember the first time you got a compliment from your teacher, the moment you laughed uncontrollably with your friends, or the day you succeeded after failing many times. Why? Because those moments had emotion. They touched your heart. Now imagine using that same emotional power to learn English vocabulary. Let's say you're trying to remember the word freedom. You could write it down 100 times. Freedom, the state of being free. But your brain will still forget it after a few days because it doesn't mean anything personal to you yet. But the moment you give that word emotion, it transforms into something unforgettable. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You've just finished your final exams. You walk out of the school gates, the wind touches your face, and suddenly you feel light. No pressure, no deadlines, no worries. That deep breath you take, that's freedom. Feel that moment. Smell the air. Hear the sound of laughter in the background. That feeling of release and peace. That's what the word truly means. Now your brain doesn't just know the meaning, it feels it. And when your brain feels something, it never forgets. This is how powerful emotional connection can be. When you tie a word to a real experience, your brain builds a bridge between language and life. That bridge is stronger than any dictionary definition. You can try this with any word. For example, take the word hope. Don't just memorize it. Remember a time when you felt hopeless but decided not to give up. Maybe it was when you failed an exam but promised yourself to do better next time. That quiet determination, that's hope. When you connect words like this, they stop being words and become living memories. Start a new habit from today. Whenever you learn a new word, pause and ask yourself, what does this word feel like to me? Write that feeling down in your notebook beside the meaning. Maybe draw a small emoji that matches the emotion: a happy face, a teardrop, a heart, or a spark. Add colors, doodles, or even a short sentence about when you felt that word in real life. For example, word, confidence, meaning believing in yourself. My feeling, When I spoke English in class, even though I was nervous, that was confidence. Now that word belongs to you. You didn't just learn it, you lived it. That's the magic of emotional learning. Science also supports this. Studies show that emotional memories are stored deeper in the brain than neutral ones. It's why we remember our favorite songs, movie scenes, or even the words someone said that made us cry. You don't remember those things because you repeated them. You remember because they mattered to you. So don't treat English words like strangers. Treat them like friends. Get to know them. Spend time with them. Feel them. Let every word carry a piece of your life, a small spark of your emotion. Because words are not just sounds or letters. They are mirrors of the heart. And when you connect your heart to what you learn, memory becomes effortless. Emotion is not a distraction from learning. It's the path to lifelong learning. So from this day forward, don't just memorize English, feel it. Because the more you feel your words, the more they become part of you. And once a word becomes part of you, it will never be forgotten. Trick 2. Use the power of visualization. Turn words into pictures. Your brain is a visual machine. It loves pictures far more than plain words. In fact, science tells us that the human brain can process images up to 60,000 times faster than text. That's why you can remember a face you saw once years ago, but forget the definition of a word you studied yesterday. The truth is simple. Your mind doesn't think in words. It thinks in pictures. Every memory you hold, every dream you imagine, every moment you replay, they all come in images, not sentences. So if you want to remember vocabulary for life, you must learn to use the power of visualization. Every time you come across a new English word, don't just see it as a line of letters. Transform it into a mini movie in your mind. Turn that word into a living scene, something colorful, emotional, and full of movement. The stronger the image, the longer it stays in your memory. Let's try it right now. Imagine the word gigantic. You could just say to yourself, gigantic means very big. But that's boring, and your brain will forget it in a few hours. Instead, imagine this. You're sitting in your classroom, and suddenly a gigantic elephant pushes open the door. It tries to fit inside, bumps into chairs, and everyone bursts into laughter. Can you see that in your mind? Can you feel the chaos, the sound, the fun? Now that's what your brain remembers. The next time you hear gigantic, that elephant will walk straight back into your mind, and the meaning will come with it instantly. This technique is called visual association, connecting a word with a strong, vivid image. It activates both sides of your brain, your logical left side and your creative right side. When both work together, memory becomes 2 times stronger. It's like using both hands to hold something. You simply can't drop it easily. You can take this even further by creating your own vocabulary art notebook. Dedicate 1 page for each new word you learn. At the top, write the word in big, bold letters. Then, draw something that represents its meaning. It doesn't have to be perfect art, just something that helps you see the word. Below the picture, write one short meaningful sentence using that word. For example, word, journey, picture, sentence, my English journey has just begun. When you combine words with visuals, something magical happens. Learning stops feeling like homework and starts feeling like creativity. You begin to enjoy it. You start waiting for your next word, eager to imagine, draw, and feel it. That joy is what keeps motivation alive. Remember, your goal is not to make a perfect drawing. Your goal is to create a memory trigger. The next time you see that word, the image you drew will flash in your mind and bring back the meaning instantly. You can also visualize without drawing. When you hear a word like storm, imagine dark clouds, flashing lightning, and strong winds shaking trees. When you learn whisper, picture two friends leaning close, speaking softly. The more senses you use, sight, sound, feeling, the stronger the memory becomes. So next time you study vocabulary, don't just read it, paint it, see it, live it. Let your imagination run free. Make every word come alive in your mind like a scene from a movie you'll never forget. Because in the end, the words that stay with you are not the ones you memorized. They're the ones you saw. Trick 3. Use the word immediately. Speak it, write it, live it. Here's a golden rule that every successful English learner follows. Use it or lose it. It sounds simple, but it's more powerful than you can imagine. When you learn a new word and don't use it within the first 24 hours, your brain labels it as unimportant. It says, this word doesn't matter to survival, and silently deletes it from your memory. That is why so many learners feel frustrated. They study hard, memorize words, and then wonder why they vanish when it's time to speak. But here's the good news. You can stop this from happening. If you use a word even once, it shifts from short-term memory to long-term memory, where it becomes part of your permanent vocabulary. So, how can you make this easy, practical, and even fun? Let me share 3 mini techniques that work like magic. 1. The 24-hour challenge. Every time you learn a new word, make it a rule to use it in a sentence that same day. For instance, if your new word is determined, don't just memorize its meaning. Write a sentence like, I'm determined to improve my English this month. Say it out loud. Repeat it. Even better, tell a friend. The act of using the word immediately gives your brain a reason to remember it. It's like giving your vocabulary a VIP pass to your long-term memory. 2. The 3-sentence rule. Repetition is key, but smart repetition is even better. Each day when you write in your diary, journal, or notebook, pick one new word you learned and write 3 sentences using it. For example, if your word is brave, you could write, I was brave when I answered a question in class. She felt brave enough to speak English with her teacher. Being brave helps me try new things every day. This simple practice builds muscle memory in your brain. Every repetition strengthens the neural pathways that connect the word with meaning, emotion, and context. The more you write, the stronger your memory becomes. 3. The conversation trick. Don't limit your new words to paper. Try to use them in everyday conversations with classmates, friends, or even family. Slip them naturally into sentences. And don't worry if you make mistakes. Each attempt is a small victory for your brain. It learns through action, not just study. For example, If your new word is enthusiastic, you could say, I'm really enthusiastic about learning English today. Each time you speak it aloud, your brain stores it as a practical, living word. Think of your brain as a gym. Words are like muscles. Every time you use a word, you exercise it, making it stronger and harder to forget. Ignore it and it weakens. Use it regularly, and it becomes powerful and reliable, ready to support you in speaking, writing, and thinking in English naturally. So from today, don't be afraid to use new vocabulary. Be bold, be proud, be experimental. Make mistakes, speak loudly, write freely. Every time you apply a word, you move one step closer to fluency. Remember, learning English isn't about perfection. It's about action. The words you use become the words you own, and those words will stay with you for life. By speaking, writing, and living your vocabulary, you're not just memorizing words. You're transforming them into tools that will help you communicate, connect, and achieve your dreams. Trick 4. Learn words in context, never in isolation. Here's something most learners do completely wrong when learning English. They memorize word lists. You know the ones: apple, a fruit; run, to move fast; beautiful, pretty. You might have a notebook filled with hundreds of these lists, and you try to remember them before a test or a speaking exercise. But let's be honest. How many of those words truly stick with you? How many vanish after a day or a week? That is because this method is not learning. It is memorizing, and memorization without understanding rarely lasts. Here's the key insight. Words are like people. Just like people behave differently in different situations, words behave differently depending on how they are used. Take the word run. On its own, you might think it only means to move fast. But in real English, it has multiple lives. In the sentence, I run every morning to stay fit, it means moving fast. In she runs her own business, it means managing or leading. And in we ran out of water during the trip, it means finishing or exhausting something. One word, multiple lives. If you only memorize the dictionary definition, you will forget its real usage when you need it most. This is why learning words in context is the secret to long-term memory. Instead of trying to remember run as a single isolated word, learn it through phrases, sentences, or stories. When you see a word within a sentence, your brain does more than store a meaning. It stores a scene, an image, a situation. That scene acts as a memory anchor. Later, when you speak, write, or read, your brain recalls the context first, and the word naturally comes to mind in the correct way. Here's a practical way to do this. Whenever you encounter a new word, don't stop at its definition. Look it up in a dictionary app such as Cambridge or Oxford. Scroll down to find 2 to 3 example sentences showing the word in real use. Read each sentence carefully and imagine it happening in your mind. Then choose the sentence that connects most with you and repeat it aloud several times. Hearing it, speaking it, and visualizing it all at once strengthens your memory far more than rote memorization. To make this even more powerful, create a word scene journal. Each page focuses on one new word. At the top, Write the word clearly. Then note down a short story, sentence, or dialogue where the word is naturally used. Finally, add your own version of the scene, something that actually happened to you or that you can imagine vividly. For example, word, courage. Scene. Even when I was scared, I spoke English in front of the class. Your story. I needed courage to talk to my teacher in English. By doing this, the word stops being a random abstract concept. It becomes personal, meaningful, and tied to your life experiences. You're not memorizing anymore. Your understanding is permanent because it connects language with reality, emotion, and imagination. The beauty of learning words in context is that it prepares you for actual English use. When you speak, you don't have to think about rules or definitions. Your mind automatically recalls the correct word and its usage. You begin to speak naturally, almost effortlessly. Your vocabulary grows in a living, breathing way, rather than as a collection of lifeless lists. So from now on, promise yourself, never learn words in isolation. Always learn them in context. Make every word part of a scene, a story, or a conversation. When you connect vocabulary to real life, your brain stops treating words as homework. Instead, it treats them as tools, experiences, and memories. And memories last forever, because the words you understand deeply today will be the words you speak fluently tomorrow, and eventually, the words that shape your thoughts, dreams, and future. Trick 5. Review smartly. Use the magic of spaced repetition. Now that you know how to connect words with emotion, visualize them, use them actively, and learn them in context, there's one more key ingredient to make your vocabulary truly unforgettable. Review. Most learners either don't review at all or review too soon, thinking that a quick glance at their notes will do the trick. Both approaches are mistakes. The human brain is amazing, but it follows a natural pattern called the forgetting curve. Within just a few hours of learning something new, we start to forget it unless we revisit it at the right times. That is why words vanish from memory if left unchecked. But here's the good news. There's a proven method to fight forgetting and make words stick permanently. It's called spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is simple in theory, but incredibly powerful in practice. It means that instead of reviewing a word randomly, you review it at strategically spaced intervals. The first review happens after 1 day, the second after 3 days, the third after 7 days, the fourth after 15 days, and the fifth after 30 days. Each review acts like adding an extra lock on a door. It strengthens your memory, making it far less likely to be forgotten. The key is to review at these intervals rather than all at once because our brain needs time to process, encode, and reinforce new information. When done correctly, spaced repetition transforms short-term memories into long-term knowledge that stays with you for life. You can use technology to make this process easier. Flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet are designed with spaced repetition in mind. You input your vocabulary and the app automatically schedules reviews at the perfect time for maximum retention. If you prefer a more hands-on approach, you can create your own memory calendar. Write the words you learned today on a page labeled Day 1. Then mark reminders to review them on Day 3, Day 7, Day 15, and Day 30. During each review session, don't just passively read the words. Cover their meanings, say them aloud, create sentences, or even imagine a mini story using the word. The goal is active engagement, not passive recognition. Remember, the goal is not perfection. It's progress. Every review, no matter how small, strengthens your mental muscles for vocabulary. Think of your memory like a plant. If you water it regularly, it grows strong roots and thrives. If you neglect it, it withers and dies. 5 minutes of consistent review every day is far more effective than 2 hours of cramming once a week. By making review a daily habit, you give your brain the water, sunlight, and care it needs to grow a deep, lasting knowledge of words. Another powerful tip is to combine spaced repetition with context and emotion. When you review a word, don't just recall its definition. Remember the story, the sentence, or the image you created when you first learned it. Imagine the elephant for gigantic, the freedom of finishing exams, or the courage you felt when speaking English in class. By revisiting words in the same emotional and visual context, your memory becomes multi-layered, stronger, and more resistant to forgetting. Consistency is everything. Vocabulary is not built overnight. It is cultivated patiently over time. Make spaced repetition part of your daily routine. 5 minutes each day, focused, intentional, and mindful, will make your vocabulary grow naturally, deeply, and permanently. The words you learn will no longer be fleeting notes in a notebook. They will become tools you can use effortlessly in conversation, writing, and thinking. So start today. Plan your reviews. Engage with your words actively and be consistent. Like a gardener tending a growing plant, your careful, repeated effort will turn your vocabulary into a flourishing, permanent part of your mind. Spaced repetition isn't just a technique. It's the magic that makes learning English vocabulary last for life. Bonus tip: create your English world. Here's a secret that separates top English learners from the rest. They don't just study English. They live it. That's right. They don't see English as a subject or a list of words to memorize. They see it as a living, breathing part of their daily life. And you can do the same starting today. The moment you make English part of your environment, your brain stops treating it as a foreign language and starts treating it as a natural skill, a tool you use every day. One simple way to begin is by changing the language on your phone to English. Every time you check your messages, social media, or apps, you are immersing yourself in English without even thinking about it. You're training your brain to recognize words, sentences, and instructions naturally. Another powerful step is to watch short English videos, cartoons, or content you enjoy. Choose videos that interest you, whether it's about sports, science, or entertainment. As you watch, pay attention to new words, phrases, and expressions. Repeat them aloud. Notice how they are used in context. The brain learns best when it's entertained. So, combining learning with fun is an unbeatable strategy. Social media can also become a valuable tool. Follow English pages on Instagram, YouTube, or other platforms. Read posts, watch stories, and engage with comments in English. Every small interaction counts. Even scrolling through captions trains your brain to read and understand English naturally. It's like building a tiny English universe around you, a world where the language is not forced, but lived. Another simple but effective method is to talk to yourself in English when you are alone. Describe what you are doing, plan your day, or reflect on your thoughts in English. For example, when cooking, you might say, I am chopping vegetables carefully. Now I will cook them on medium heat. When walking, narrate your actions or thoughts in English. This trains your mind to think in the language instead of translating from your native language. And the more you do it, the faster your fluency grows. The real magic happens when English becomes part of your daily habits. Imagine waking up and thinking in English. Imagine ordering food in English, writing your to-do list in English, or journaling your goals in English. When the language becomes a natural part of your world, vocabulary stops being something you memorize and starts being something you use effortlessly every day. Words are no longer just words. They are tools that shape your thoughts, actions, and dreams. Remember this, you don't have to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion that slows progress. What matters is consistency. Every word you learn today is like planting a small seed. Some days you will see growth quickly. Other days it may seem slow. But if you keep nurturing it, using the words, speaking, writing, and thinking in English, one day it will grow into a forest of fluency. Your brain will automatically recall words, phrases, and sentences because English has become your world, your habit, your second nature. So start today. Immerse yourself. Surround yourself with English. Live it, breathe it, and enjoy it. Every little effort compounds into lifelong fluency. Every word you learn is not just a piece of English. It is a piece of your future. Words are more than letters. They shape how you think, how you speak, and how you dream. When you learn a new word, you're not just learning English. You're learning a new way to see the world, a new lens to understand life, and a new tool to express yourself with confidence and clarity. So, never say, I'm bad at remembering. Instead, tell yourself, I'm becoming better every day. Remember these 5 powerful tricks. Feel the words. Connect them with emotion so they become unforgettable. See the words. Visualize them vividly in your mind like pictures or mini movies. Use the words. Speak and write them daily, actively bringing them into your life. Live the words. Learn them in context so your brain understands how they work in real situations. Review the words. Repeat them with smart intervals to make them part of your long-term memory. If you follow these steps every day, you will never forget vocabulary again. You will start thinking in English naturally, and speaking will feel effortless. English is not just a language. It is your bridge to opportunity, and vocabulary is the bricks that build that bridge. So start today and build your bridge one word at a time, one dream at a time. Here on English Listening Lab, we believe in growing together word by word, day by day. Keep planting seeds of knowledge. Keep learning and keep believing, because when you achieve in English, you achieve in life. Your English journey has just begun, and it is going to be extraordinary. Stay motivated, stay consistent, and watch how your world transforms with every word you learn. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to English Listening Lab. Doing this small action helps you and helps us grow, ensuring you never miss our new lessons designed to boost your skills and improve your English.